Hey guys, so today my message is going to be a little bit different. I'm not doing a regular Bible devotion, but as we all know, Mother's Day is coming up this weekend. And so for my church kiddos, all the ones whose information I have, I dropped off some projects this week, and this video is going to show you how to complete that project so you have a nice gift for your mother. And I wrote each of you guys a little note explaining what to do and how to make that gift look nice. And so at the end of this video though, if you're not part of my church, if you didn't receive a prepackaged project, I'm gonna show you instructions for how I did it and how dads or grandpas or whoever we have at home who's not the mom or the grandma or the gift recipient, how you guys can do this at home with your kiddo. It's pretty easy. It's a lot of stuff that you have around the house. So scroll to the end or about the middle of the video if you want to see the full instructions on how to do that. Okay, so if you are a parent now, it's time for you to get off the video, or if you're the mom, actually, it's time for you to get off the video so that your kiddos can work on this project and you can be surprised. All right, so this is what you should have received from me, or if you're watching this video to see what to do, this is the end result. This is what I pass out to my kiddos. Just a block of wood with some nails in it and a heart shape. And you should have received some embroidery thread, or you can use yarn. You can use any kind of string that you have around the house. It's really pretty simple. So I'm gonna show you a few different options to do. So get your string and tie a knot. Just tie it really good a couple of times, and we'll cut the tail off at the end so it's not obvious. So you can really be as creative as you want to be for this. I'm going to show you just a couple of options. So here I'm going to zigzag in and out. This is a simple way to do it. Back and forth, and you can kind of like press the thread down as you go. And also, like, I've done this similar project before, but I haven't done this exact project. So I'm gonna learn with you guys a little bit too. So it looks like if you loop around, the nails might go a little bit better. So let's try that, looping around the nails. So I go over the nail and then I loop around. And then the more times we go over it, it's gonna be more obvious what it is, that it's a heart. So, and you have a lot of embroidery thread here. Definitely more than enough. So if you have multiple kids in your family, and I dropped off several packets for you, I purposely gave each of you guys different color thread. So if you want to, you know, go halves with your brother or sister or whatever, so that you can have like really colorful ones, then you can do that, or you can just have it all one color. Or if you have just different string around your house and you'd rather use that, then go ahead and do that. But definitely, this is the kind of thing that moms like. I know because I'm a mom and I like this kind of stuff. So here you go. Like, even if I stopped right now, it's a heart. Mom will be happy. Very cool. All right. So if you want to just do like this style where you're just outlining it, then just keep going around until you're happy with it. If you want to make it a little more interesting, then what you can do is just start zigzagging between the nails. Now you can kind of see, I'm just going randomly from one nail across to another nail, and as I go across, I'm making a little loop. Now the part that's tricky for my little guys is keeping the tension. So dads or big brothers and sisters, if you're helping, if you let it be really loose, it's going to be hard. It's going to start coming unraveled, like just what's happening right now when I let go. So the trick to that is just keeping tension or keeping it tight. Okay, so now as long as I keep it tight, it stays nice and it's easy. So you might have to help out your little kiddos with that part, just keeping the tension. So as you see, the more times I go across between all the different nails, I get a really nice design. See that? Kind of like a cool spiderweb look thing. And then if you had different colors from your brother or sister, you could change, but I kind of like the look of just the one color. But whatever you want, I'm sure will be nice. Then just go as many times as you want. It'd be fun to just use up the entire thread. It's pretty long. There we go. Now, the reason that I really like this project, dads, if you're watching, or bigger kids, because this is totally just stuff that you're likely to have around the house. This is a 2x4 that I just chopped. It was left over from a different project. If you even just have any kind of scrap wood around, it's really good for that. I was at first thinking I would use 2x2, but I realized that that was going to be too tiny and it would actually make it more difficult to put the nails in and more difficult for the kiddos to work on. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit of tangle in my thread here. Okay, so if you are waiting to learn how to do the project from beginning to end, then you can just fast forward to the next part of the video and see how I did it, if it's not already obvious to you. Oops. And then you can come back and watch this part with your kiddos to actually do the project. There we go. Looking pretty nice. Let me hold that up, make sure everybody can see. I just thought that a heart would be fun and not too difficult to do, but you can do any shape that you want. A few years ago I did one for Children's Church, and we made a cross, and it was really simple because there were not that many nails. It was a bigger board that we did it on, and I just made a simple cross, and they were able to just do that in class. Oops, see, that's what happened, I lost my tension. So let me get back over here, get it tied again. If you're worried about it coming unraveled as you work, you could always like stop and put a little knot. I'm not gonna do that because I'm being lazy, but I'm starting to run out of space because I have mine somewhat high on the nail. See, if I had pushed the thread down lower, I would be able to put a lot more thread. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there because you get the idea anyway, and I wanna show you how to finish it up. So I'm gonna cut a nice long tail so that it's easy to make my knot. And I'm just going to, let me see. So I'm gonna stop here on this nail. You know what? Maybe I'll stop on the bottom nail. That'd be good. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it down and through. I'm kind of just winging this. So here, I'm just gonna make a knot on this last nail. So here I've got this. You know what? I'm gonna knot it to the tail that I left from the beginning. I think that'll be easier. This is how I do my projects. I figure them out as I go. Okay. So I'm gonna make a knot there, and I'll probably pull the knot through, oops, a few times. Do a few knots just to make sure it doesn't come undone. And then I'll cut both the tails. So make sure that your knot is nice and tight so that your beautiful project doesn't come unraveled. Okay, this is where it's good to leave that tail at the beginning, okay? And there I have my beautiful heart project. Maybe I'll give this to my mom. She'd probably like this. Okay, so you have your heart, and then you can cut your little tails. Just cut them short, but don't cut them too short so that you don't cut your knot off, because then you're gonna have ruined your project and have to probably fix it. Okay, so there I have my project all the way done. Now for anyone who did not receive a Mother's Day kit from me, maybe you live in a different town, or you don't come to my church, and so I didn't drop it at your house yesterday. This is very simple. All I did was, we have a chop saw, so I am not a big fan of radial saws, but I'm not scared of the chop saw. So I just chopped these all up by myself. So they're pretty close to a square. So it's 3.5 this way. I did about 3 this way, so they're more of a rectangle, but you can do whatever. So these are about 3.5 by 3. If you want to do your perfect square, then, you know, obviously just do 3.5 cut. And then what I did next is I just sketched out a heart. And I did, well, first of all, I cut a piece of paper to the size of my square. Then I cut a heart, I drew a heart, and I wanted to make sure that it was symmetrical. So I drew half of a heart, I folded my paper and then I drew the other heart so that it was symmetrical. And then I just used a pencil to pick out some spots for my nails. I thought about 14 to 16 nails was going to be good. I ended up doing 14. And as you can see, I started out with some holes and I thought, oh, I'm going to move those a little bit. So then I just moved them. It was no big deal. So once I had my points for my heart that I wanted to place my nails, I just took a nice sharp pencil and I poked through the paper. Just went like that so that I have holes on all of the points. Then I square up my paper onto my block, and all I do is I use a really sharp pencil so that I can just poke through. Poke, poke, poke. Now I have little points for my nails. Especially if you're making more than one, because I made 30 something, I think 31, and I'll probably do a few more. You definitely want to use this. If you're just making one and you can just freehand it, it's no big deal. So then I just double check, make sure that I can see all of my nail marks where I want to put my nails. Oh, this fountain happened to fall on a crack right there. Okay, so I want to make sure that those are all clearly visible. These are the nails that we used. The only problem with these, I will say that they were great, except that these are just regular finishing nails. These aren't like the kind that you would use in your house for home projects like this. So this nice, beautiful nail will not make your hand black. These, however, will. So after you've been going for a while, you're gonna notice that you've got black on your fingers. So try not to smear that onto your wood. So I've got my nails, I've got my wood. Oh, here's my hammer. So you can probably use, you know, different nails, whatever you use handy. I bought a whole box because I needed to do a big project, obviously. And then you just want to try and keep them straight. Little tap, tap, taparoo. So I might turn them and make sure that they look pretty straight to me. And then I'm just going to go around, put them all in there. At the end, you know, if I say, oh, this one's a little to the side, I'm just going to give them a little tap and try and straighten them up. And then when I've got my whole shape done, I'll go around and try and make them more level. So I'll give some of them a few more taps. Very simple. I didn't bother with any pilot holes or anything, which sometimes you get a little bit of splitting because of that. It's really not that much though, so I didn't think it was worth the trouble of drilling pilot holes. Nobody's got time for that. All right, so as you see, I am somewhat handy, but you really don't have to be handy at all to be able to do a project like this. And then your mom is like, wow, you made me something. It wasn't from Oriental Trading. It's amazing. And it doesn't take that much space to store, so that is a big selling point too. And just because I'm crazy and silly, I timed myself doing these. Once I had a big stack of blocks with the hearts already marked out on them, it takes me about 3 minutes and 20 seconds to do these when I'm really trying to go through quickly. So it's a pretty quick project. Oh, I did forget one thing to mention, that after I chopped the blocks, I like to clean them up. Oh, I didn't even pull this one off. I like to clean them up. So I have a belt sander. So I just turn the belt sander with the sander side up, and then I just touch the edges all down on there. I wanted to clean up the edges and round them off a little bit. And then if any of them were like really rough on one side, I might just touch the face down to smooth them out a little bit. You totally don't have to do that. Like you can kind of see on this one. This one looks kind of nice. You can do as much or as little as you want. So I like the edges cleaned up. I think it makes it look a little bit better, but it's really no big deal if you want to just have it like just a block, or if you don't have a belt sander. I mean, you're obviously not going to buy one for a project this small, but you could just get sandpaper and just clean it up a little bit. You're not doing 30 of them, so that'll be easy. All right, so I almost have my heart done here. great thing about a project like this, you could do it with all your grandkids, all your kids, if you have a bunch of kids, whatever. I can do it with all my church kids, and the cost is like really inexpensive. I got a giant pack of embroidery thread because I have a good size group of kiddos. So that was like $10 on Amazon for 105 of these. Actually, I think it might have been like $7 or $8. But you can buy those anywhere, embroidery thread, or you can just use like string that you have. And then the nails, I think, were like $5, and there are 616 in there. The blocks of wood were scrap, so I'm going to call those free. But even if you had to buy a 2x4, like, I'm not sure what the current price is, but it's not very much, and you can get a lot of projects. Okay, so I'm going to go around, try and even them out. So this one's a little bit crooked. I'm not like too particular. Make them look. Okay, so there you have it. All you need is a block of wood, some nails, whether these finishing nails or some of these little household use nails with a little head on them. Any of those will work. Embroidery thread or string or yarn or even jute, really, like any kind of string you have around the house, and a pencil and a hammer, and you are good to go. So I hope that helped you out. I hope you have now a chance to do something fun with your kiddos at home, and that way you can bless the moms or the grandmas or whoever is in your life for Mother's Day this weekend.